Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another Friday session in the TEFL Development Hub. And as always, I've got fantastic chat coming up. Today I'm joined by Anne Robinson and Kati Bilsborough, and they're going to be chatting to us about a new series of books which they've just released, which are aimed at young learners, specifically around kind of helping learners prepare for the Cambridge exams, but really they're for anyone who has a love of puzzles. So first of all, Kathy and Anne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I mean, I know you both from kind of having seen you at events, and I've seen you speak a number of times. So, first of all, Anne, I mean, you've had a very extensive career in ELT. Where did you first get started, and where did you develop your passion for young learners?
Okay, so my first taste of teaching was as an assistant in France, because I did French and German at university and spent a year in France. Loved teaching. So once I'd finished my degree, I did the 4-week course, yeah, which is now the CELTA course, and came to Spain for a year before I went back to get a serious job uh, in banking or marketing. At the time, that was what I was looking into. But basically, I love teaching. I love being in the classroom. I love the contact. Then, of course, I met my husband, so stayed in Spain as well for that reason. So it all began really quite by chance, and it wasn't planned. But I would never say that I regret a single day.
Mhm. Fantastic. And I mean, TEFL in Spain, it tends to be, jack of all trades, master of none. Did you really kind of develop a passion towards young learners, or how did it come about?
Okay, so when I was in Madrid, really, the first couple of years I only taught adults, but then in what was International House Serrano, we started with some young learners. I was like the pioneer, if you like, of that. So we started a young learners class there, and then basically when I moved up here to Santander, the school was kind of 60% young learners and teenagers. So again, I discovered, and again, I kind of introduced younger learners. They were starting at 8, and so I started 6, and so basically came through teaching. Yeah. So, and then of course I'm a mom as well, like Kati. So you kind of get a different angle on things as well once you've got kids and they're growing up and seeing how they operate in languages and things. So.
Mhm. Cool. And then, Katty, so you're not a teacher, you're not in the ELT world as such. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I started off, well, I've always drawn since I was little. I think I probably drew before I spoke, and I've always loved drawing. And then when it came to study, I wanted to study arts, and I sort of started with arts, but then art is a complicated world to live on, yeah. So like as Anne was saying, like I needed to get like a proper job, and I started interior design, which I studied. That's what I studied. But then I didn't. I liked it, but it wasn't my thing. And then for to find a job, I started working in the British Council in Bilbao, and they let me to be the part of the library. So that's where I got all the contact with their children. And I was doing all nice crafty things and things like that. And then my parents, obviously, they come from ELT teaching since I don't know. So I started getting into the world bit by bit, like, and then my big first job was illustrating some phonics readers, and I just enjoyed it so much, and I was thinking, well, I would love to live of this, and just bit by bit. I mean, my mum's helped me loads, obviously, with contacts and that, but then I probably did my bit where people were liking my things, and that's how I'm here now. Like, and I'm actually doing a challenge on LinkedIn with all the work that I've been doing, that I have done, like, and I'm amazed. I didn't realize I'd done so many things for different people. So So yeah, that's my background.
Yeah, I mean, your November challenges, it's
Yeah.
been beautiful seeing the variety. And
Mhm.
one thing I love about your work is there's so much color in it as well. It's
Well,
all
it's
really
that's
vibrant.
I love doing color. Like I've got my other social media where I do portraits and that is a lot of color. But then obviously I've got to keep like in mind what what the client wants, you know. So that's why there's so much variety, because there's so many different people out there that want different things, and I do give my opinion if I think I need to. But some clients have got like their mind, like they know what they want, and I just keep with that, and I don't make them change their mind if I think it's okay, like so.
Fantastic. And so, Anne, how did the collaboration between you and Kati first come about?
Well, I think probably I discovered Kati through her mum, probably. I think, to be honest, I don't know, but I think that was the case. I started following Kati on Instagram and really liked her illustration, the kind of, the portraits that Kati was doing. So my first contact with Kati was I messaged her and said, I'd like you to do a couple of portraits of me for my webpage. So I sent her a couple of photos that I liked, and Kati drew them. The one thing you did do actually, Kati, when it was very sensible, was Kati looked at my website and said, that jacket you're wearing isn't the right color. Is it okay if I change the color? And yeah, so I mean, the original photo, I think it was red and you've made it green. So it kind of fitted in with my website. So yeah, you did give your opinion and it was highly appreciated. And then after that, I'm trying to help Ukraine. So I have an organization called Bracelets and Peace. So I asked Kati if she would kindly draw the logo for us, and she did a brilliant job. She had a totally free hand at that, but did a brilliant job. Yeah, just kind of encapsulated everything that it's about, and it was great. So that was our first working together and collaborating, wasn't it, Kati?
Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed the logo thing because it was for a good. I was at home like seeing the news, and I was like, when you just came and said, "Can you do this for me?" And I was like, "Of course." That was like the least I could do. So that was really cool to do. Yeah.
Fantastic. And the kind of the title of this session was From a Seed, an Idea Grew. So where did the idea for the puzzle books first come from?
So on a personal level, I've always loved puzzles. My parents always used to do the crossword every day, the cryptic crossword, and likewise. And so I've always loved them myself. And then I like creating them for books and just for students. I'm doing online volunteer teaching these days on a Monday with Ukraine precisely. So students join from all over Ukraine. You never know how many you're going to get or who's going to come. Some are always there and others come and go. So I was also creating materials for those classes, and they kind of grew into a kind of pile sitting on my desk or rather on my computer, I suppose. And I sort of thought, maybe these could come together, and actually be something physical, as in terms of a book. Also, ever since COVID, especially, I don't reject digital, but I'm worried that we're becoming, and especially young learners, are becoming too digital. And I'm worried about them not developing their motor skills. So, maybe somebody like Kati wouldn't become an artist in the future because they wouldn't have picked up that pen and colours and drawn and painted. So I deliberately wanted to bring out something that was hands-on, making it personal. So each book belongs to that student, and they kind of work through it, and at the end it's theirs, and that. So yeah, so it came from various sources, and then I approached Kati originally for the illustrations, and then she said, "Oh, by the way, I also do layout," and I went, "Ding! Wow!" So that I had a solution there for bringing it out, basically. So it's been very, very smooth. So great.
Fantastic. And so, Kati, this wasn't your first project doing the layout. You'd had experience with other things before?
Yeah, like Well, when I studied, like I said, I studied interior design, and then afterward, I did study graphic design. So that's where I sort of learned some skills. And the first one I did, I was like when I was doing this November challenge. I don't know. It's been like over 10 years ago. I did the first layout. It was also a self publisher, and that's the first one. And I like doing the layout because if I'm doing the illustrations, I can play with that. Um, when you have somebody doing the layout, somebody doing the illustrations, you've got to sort of like combine and work with each other. And so I really enjoy doing the layout because that's the graphic design part. So I love illustration, but I also like graphic design. So it's a good combination.
Fantastic. And I mean, on the cover of the books, we've got the monster. Is he kind of present, or it, he, she, it present throughout, or are there other characters that come in as well?
Well, each puzzle is a standalone. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily work through the books in order. So you could like pick and choose and say, you know, if somebody like really likes doing the word searches, they might do all the word searches first or something like that. Some of them are topic based. So we do have the monster from time to time, but we've got really other illustrations that are related to the content of the page. Yeah, so sometimes it's just some kind of little illustrations, yeah, Kati, and other times I've written an artwork brief and said, Kati, I need, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So
As a character, that's the only like proper one. It's not like through all the book, but it's like telling you like well done and those sort of things.
yeah, so we've got like halfway through the book. In each case, we've got the monster saying, I mean, see the monster here. Okay, so they get halfway through the book and they complete this with, you know, how many, which is your favorite page, which pages have got more color on them, where did you draw pictures, and 3 new words for you. This is flyers. And then the monster's telling them, you know, you're halfway through the book. There are 62 puzzles and you're halfway through and you've done 73 activities. Yeah. So the monsters are kind of well done, you know, give yourself a round of applause kind of thing.
Fantastic. And I love that idea of having that little review and reflection kind of through the book as well. I think that's really important. It's not just because I mean they at the end of the day these are puzzles to help students develop their English skills and
Yeah.
so to kind of get them reflecting on the things that they've seen. Fantastic. Awesome.
And in fact, Teresa, we're not stopping with young learners. Right now, I'm writing, and I'm nearly finished, Kati, so you've got some work coming up very soon. A2 Key, so we're going to bring one out right the way up to C2 proficiency. Yeah, so there's another 5 planned, and number 4 is I think maybe just after Christmas, maybe just before. It depends how long we have the turnaround, but maybe more realistically January. Yeah, Kati.
Yeah, I think so.
And with it being the team of 2 of you, kind of a writer and then the graphic designer, illustrator, a fabulous team, how easy was it to approach a publisher with the idea?
So we didn't. They're self-published basically, and that's another thing that you know. I wrote my first books. And they were published in 2005. So as you said before, Teresa, extensive career. So I think the world of publishing has changed a lot since then. I think as an author, it's not as easy to kind of, I mean, my first books were, again, my idea approaching a publisher in that case. And it actually, what it ended up being wasn't what I originally approached them with, but fine. But then since then, it's very much you get a brief and you really don't have a lot of input. You just basically follow the brief and write, which is fine. And then, you know, in terms of royalties have really been reduced over the years as well. And I mean, I'm seeing, you know, like Kath self-publishing, you know, you're seeing, you know, on LinkedIn, you're seeing people who are mentioning that they're self-publishing, and I thought, oh, why not have a go, you know? can't lose anything. Yeah. So and the reception so far has been really, really positive. All the teachers who bought it are like sending, in some cases, photos of their students with their books held up. Really, really positive comments. And obviously, what ideally we would like to happen is that for schools to take them on board, and potentially we hope that's going to happen. I mean, that's being worked on at the moment, and that would be the ideal thing.
Fantastic. And Kati, were there any challenges for you through the design and production process?
Yeah, there were quite a few because well, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a writer, but I'm guessing that when you write, you don't exactly know how it's going to fit in the page. And sometimes some of the illustrations that wanted to be in the page were a bit too detailed to actually fit in the page. So I had to sort of like work around that. But it's been great working with Anne because she's actually given me quite a bit. Like I had a brief, obviously, but I've had a lot of freedom. So I was able to work around those things. And if there was things that they were too detailed, we were able to talk about it. And she would actually tweak some of the puzzles to be able to work with the illustration. I think if it had been with a publisher, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah. And also you tweaked pictures, not very many actually.
Yeah.
Kati got it, straight away, but once or twice. I mean, we did have to have a certain detail, and that was the big difference actually than working with a publisher, because when you're an author, you write an artwork brief. Sometimes the artist doesn't get it quite right, but obviously there's a cost involved. So you basically, you have to lump it. You have to use what you've got. So you have to end up rewriting, the task. Whereas with Kati, I mean, sometimes I tweaked one or two things, Kati, but usually you got it spot on, or you were able to.
Yeah, it only happened like a couple of times, but I mean that's the good thing about this job, that you get challenges. If it was all dead easy, then it would be boring. So
I like that nice positive outlook about the challenges of life. Fantastic. So let's chat a little bit more about the puzzles themselves. I mean, Anne, you mentioned they're always having a passion for puzzles. How do you feel they help students in terms of language development?
Okay, so I think they're quite different from your standard ELT puzzles that you maybe find in a course book. Because what I'm trying to do is to get students to notice things about words, they kind of make connections. And I think it's something that maybe in the UK, certainly, the students there do kind of work on, because like books that I brought back from my daughters when they were growing up, they looked at the same kind of thing. So, can you find this word within a word? Or if you add this letters to, like, for example, if you take the word diary and you add letters, it grows into dictionary. Yeah. So those kind of things, realizing, making connections, helping them with difficult spelling, maybe getting them to write sentences with the first letter of every word is the letter in the word. So those kind of things. Noticing, I would say, making connections would be the biggest thing. Or for example, that if you take the word rice and you change the C, you get ride. So we've got quite a few puzzles where they either add a letter or they change a letter. So
fantastic. And Kati, are you a passionate puzzler as well?
Well, I have to say, I used to do a lot of Sudokus. That was what I was used to get. But I used to get a bit annoyed at myself when they were getting a bit too difficult. And I haven't done puzzles. Well, I mean, since I've had my little girl, I haven't had much time to do certain little things like that. So, but I have been enjoying doing this book because when there was something I didn't quite understand or I didn't have the answer, and to not have to bother Anne too much, I used to just try and do it myself. So I was finding myself doing some of the puzzles. So that was quite fun. But I have done puzzles, but probably when I was younger. So I think this is great because this is actually for young learners. So I mean, if I was a young learner, if I'd have been, you know, at school, if I'd have had a book like this, I think I would have enjoyed it much more. So it's a fun way of learning.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I was the kid that growing up, I always had a puzzle book in my stocking every Christmas. So I would love these books. And I'm looking forward to like the higher level, the C1, C2, because that'll help me develop my vocabulary as well. So you said as well, you don't have to kind of work through the book from beginning to end. So it's not a case of things getting more difficult as you go through or anything like that.
I mean, obviously, I think I have had that in mind, so that the more difficult puzzles or the more difficult words will appear towards the end. And also, if we've got the same kind of puzzle, for example, change a letter, then maybe we've got 3 of those throughout the book, and then I'll deliberately make the first one easier with easier words, and then the other ones will be more difficult words probably. So yeah, I've definitely done that. So for example, for flyers, if I'm doing, I kind of review starters and movers words perhaps in the first one, and then the flyers one might come in the second one, and then the third. So there is a certain element of that, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And you mentioned like the hope is that schools will take them on board. How do you see them being used? Is it for kind of teachers to do a puzzle as a class? Can students do them for homework? What are the different options?
Yeah, well, a couple of schools have said, that they're thinking about getting the students to buy them as kind of homework for next year. And I also see them as kind of a summer book, the kind of books that schools maybe say, either you have to do this book, or look, this is something you could do over the summer. I also see, throughout my career, you're always getting parents asking, oh, what can they do? What can my kid do? What can my daughter do? What can my son do? To make sure it's the right level, because they really want to do more English. They love English. They want to do more. So again, it could be something that a teacher recommends on a personal level, to an individual, or maybe a student's, really having problems with spelling. So again, it could be something that could be kind of recommended to that student in particular. I also think, and I've also been talking to a couple of friends, maybe about they could have a Cambridge corner in the classroom, and they can kind of move to that corner physically and work on their puzzle books. And again, it could be the whole class, or it could be somebody who's finished quicker than the others, or
Yeah. And I love what you were saying before as well about that physicality of actually having the book and, circling the words rather than things being done digitally. I think that's a really important part of it as well.
Yeah, I got a question actually. Are you bringing out a digital version on Facebook the other day? And I said, no, we're deliberately not bringing out a digital version. I mean, maybe one day. I mean, I've got a daughter who's quite into kind of programming, and she was saying, maybe she might develop these into some kind of online game or something like that. But I wouldn't have it just as a, something that you show on the screen, and it's just on the screen, but it's not live, it's not moving or anything. So who knows?
And I mean, do you have a favorite puzzle type to develop?
I really like both the change a letter and the make it grow, where you add letters, because basically what I do, you can see what I'm doing at the moment for key, right? Is I've got the word list. I have it printed off because I'm a very hands-on person rather than on the screen. I also have it on the screen because I can then search for letter patterns. But basically, I start looking at these and I think, oh, look at that. Those letters, there's one letter difference in that. Or look, you've got those letters that can go into that. I'm finding things out about words as well, discovering it. So that's basically the ones I really like doing are those. And then writing the definitions, I think, from working with the young learners tests over the years, and writing books for those. I'm quite good at writing the definitions, making them quite nice and tight, so they can't be something else, because that's what you've got to be careful with. So again, sometimes thinking of how to make that definition tight so it can't be another word. That's also a nice challenge as well.
Fantastic. And Kati, in terms of the design, are there any puzzles which are easier or more difficult to put on the page?
More than difficult, the ones that the word search, because this is like you've got to put all the letters. So I find myself like I'm not even blinking. I'm like that on the screen just to make sure I've got the right. Those are the ones. Not that it's difficult, just like tedious, you know. But then the rest, I mean, just a bit. The difficult. Well, the difficult. The what was like when we did the first one, that was like we had to sort of like get that through. Then the other ones there, because I sort of understand what the puzzle is like, because sometimes I wasn't understanding the puzzle exactly, you know. And but then once we did starters was the one that took us a bit longer, just because, you know, just to design and working out the layout to make it clear for children, because obviously they need more space to write. That is the space usually was the problem, because we want to fit a lot on the page, obviously, to have more information. But then kids usually have like big handwriting, and that was mainly the problem.
Yeah, and also sometimes I always find this the writing a concise rubric that fits on the line. I think that's been our biggest challenge, where you've come back to me and said, you know, look at 26 because, you know, in one the rubric's not fitting on the line.
Yeah, I would suggest, like, I would say, like, if that can be in one line, it would be better. If not, I'll make it work. And the titles at the top, we try to make them so they all fit in one line as well. So, but this is again like what we were saying, like, because we were just us two working, you know, it was and I usually give my opinion, you know, if I can. I think that's what makes things work as well. So
exactly.
And now that you're moving into the teams and then kind of getting to the higher levels, how do you feel the design might differ?
Well, we've the monster won't be on there because we thought that's I mean, there might be older people like I'm a bit childish, I would, but we've taken the monster out. But the actual layout on that, we both agreed that we like it, and you know, it's child friendly, but it's for adults as well. So the actual layout on that, we're gonna try and keep it the same way, really.
Fantastic. Excellent. So, I mean, this is what's coming next. We're looking forward to A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. So, like you say, another 5 books. Fantastic. Is there anything else that you've got on the cards at the moment, either of you?
Well, ongoing, every Tuesday we share a puzzle challenge, which we share LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's designed really for maybe teachers or certainly very high level students. It's quite funny because this week's one I thought was really easy, but some people were saying I can't get this at all. It's about like one of those pictures when you're supposed to be able to see 2 things and you can't. It's like, I don't know, that happens to me a lot. So we've got that every Tuesday, and then we publish the solution on Wednesdays. We're going to bring out an advent calendar with Christmas puzzles as well. That will come out 1st of December, I presume. Yeah, Kati. So we've got that on the cards as well, and we shall see. So those 5, but then people are already asking for things like, you know, maybe grammar puzzles. Who knows? So we shall see.
Wow, fantastic. And Kati, what about you? Because I know you do a lot of work with ELT people in different ways.
Well, at the moment, like, I'm working obviously with all of this thing with Anne, and then I've been having a couple of while I've been away, I've been 2 weeks away, and I've had like 4 different little job things that I had to do. I thought I should go away more often to get more opportunity. But one of them was a publisher, which I was quite happy. I can't remember the name at the moment. And then Christmas is usually a busy time for me because I get I do portraits for people, you know, like normal people. and sometimes I frame them and everything. And so usually Christmas is busy because I got all the Christmas presents for the people. So
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, definitely everyone stay tuned on Tuesdays. The puzzles that sometimes they are easy and sometimes they're very difficult. So yeah, and it's great to see kind of get an experience of what's happening in the books. And so obviously well, I'm assuming the plan is once the A2 book is out, you'll be incorporating them as well. Fantastic.
Exactly. I'm moving on. I mean, sometimes I get ideas for higher levels as I'm working on something. So I'm sort of stashing away a few puzzles and things as I work on the other levels. But yeah. So.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, huge thanks to you both for coming along today and congratulations on the series. I mean, they really do look fantastic. And I know that if I was working with young learners, I would I'd buy them for myself, never mind the students. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the higher level ones coming out soon.
Right. Thank you very much for inviting us, Rita. It's been a pleasure.
Been wonderful. Have a good